A massive thank you to Daniel, Dr. Frosted, Justin, Ashby and Court for subscribing to the channel. If you're not be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below.
Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 21 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we're here back once more in Brazil. If you missed out on the video that went live yesterday, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. I completely forgot we had a sprint race here from Interlagos, and it was a very good one. Nonetheless, plenty of action, plenty of carnage once more here from Brazil. Of course, at the moment, still behind the scenes, we're just getting on with doing the last few R&D upgrades that we need to on the car, so still just trying to tick off as many of those as we can. Like I said, focusing on the expensive upgrades first, but seems now like we've gone through most of the really expensive ones. But yeah, like I said though, if you missed out on the sprint race yesterday, would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Sadly, for those of you that did watch it, you'll know I had a bit of a weird graphical bug come the end of the race where it just decided it wouldn't load the results screen. So I loaded back into the game, and it just made them up in the end. You can't even see them on here. So yeah, I went back in. It just got back to this sort of main menu screen. We'd already done the sprint race, so I don't know where we're starting for this one today. I think the grid might be a bit mixed up. I'm hoping it saved our results from the sprint. I mean, we didn't score any points, so it's not going to be the be-all and end-all here. But yeah, let's jump into it then. The proper Grand Prix here from Brazil. 36 laps ahead of us. But first, a quick word from our sponsor.
This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. That gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, and Magnussen. Norris, they've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, Hamilton, and Valtteri Bottas. Ocon, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Tsunoda, Sergio Perez, and Sainz. Joe, they've taken a grid penalty. Vettel, Mr. Monaco, and Mick Schumacher. Stroll, Albon, DRUGOVICH, and Nicholas Latifi. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Right, well here we are then, on the grid, ready in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Then penultimate race of the year, and 36 laps ahead of us between us and the checkered flag here at Interlagos. But yeah, kind of getting the impression the game's guessed what kind of happened in the sprint race yesterday. We're definitely not where I thought we would be. P17 on the grid despite grid penalties everywhere around us, and yeah, somehow we've lost a place from yesterday, so not too sure how that one checks out, code is. But yeah, 36 laps ahead of us today. Fingers crossed this time round we won't have the clutch issue I had yesterday. I still have no idea what that was about either. I don't know whether it was my wheel. I mean, I restarted my wheel and then it worked, so I think it was Fanatec potentially playing me up, but we seem to have got away this time. I mean, surely Brazil. I mean, you come out of this final corner and there's just an absolute crowd around you. I'm sure this is an atmosphere like no other in Formula 1. But trying to just make sure we get some heat into the rubber. There we go, purple score this time round. Of course, like I mentioned yesterday, one of the most difficult grids to actually get it launched off of. And like I said, you know, in real life, they actually have to cover the brake on the grid here. But can we try and get a clean, tidy start? 5 red lights here in Brazil. And it is going to be lights out and away we go. And that's what I'm talking about there. Beautiful little start. There is also Sebastian Vettel. Really tries to cover me off as we head down towards turn 1 there. Tiny bit of contact with Zhou Guanyu. How was Mick Schumacher found his way up into P16? Don't want to be on the outside through that first corner. We worked it out yesterday after Pierre Gasly just completely sent me to the shadow round there. But yeah, lucky to get away with no damage then from the contact with Zhou Guanyu as everyone trying to make moves at the bottom of the hill there. Valtteri Bottas just side by side with Yuki Tsunoda as Hamilton, like we said, so many grid penalties ready for this race today. So the grid has completely reshuffled. As you know, after the sprint race yesterday, I'm still wanting to try and go on the offensive here as up the inside of Zhou Guanyu we go. But look at Mick Schumacher. He's making phenomenal progress early on then. Almost a bit of contact between him and Carlos Sainz there as Zhou Guanyu slams the door on me. So we will, you know what, we're going to try and slam back through that door with our elbows. Or our shoulders even, I should say. And we are going to keep it up the inside and move up 1 spot then off the start into P16 of the Grand Prix. We've obviously jumped Sebastian Vettel and Zhou Guanyu, but Mick Schumacher also got the jump on me there. So a fantastic little start for the Haasman there. As George Russell, we always said early on in the year, it was Charles Leclerc rather unsurprisingly leading the way, but George Russell, like we've seen, has been on an absolute tear over the last few weekends as Ocon, I think, whoa, big snap there through turn 1, and Zhou Guanyu will say thank you very much. I was just about to say Esteban Ocon perhaps under pressure as where am I going? Out of the Esquina de Lago there. We've lost 1 place to Zhou Guanyu. Lance Stroll now trying to look up the inside as we head down towards turn 4, and he pinches himself on the apex, and we will say thank you very much. Back into P17, a dramatic start here as there's still cars 2x2. Mick Schumacher clearly with issues into the pit lane at just the end of lap 2 there, so after a brilliant start for him, it's all gone a bit pear-shaped. DRS now enabled as we head through the first couple of turns. Definitely feel like we have got the pace to re-jump Zhou Guanyu here, especially as he's got no DRS. We just have to be quick up the straightaways. He's got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. Don't know if it's in front or behind us. Not too sure who it is at the moment. Oh, I think it's... Is that Lance Stroll? Is that Sebastian Vettel? I don't actually know off the top of my head. Lance Stroll out of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Right, can we try and get a run then on Zhou Guanyu? I think he's just picked up the DRS off Esteban Ocon in front of him. We have got to be careful here of battery usage because Interlagos, yeah, you can save a little bit through the middle sector, but it's not ideal there. It's purple up towards the line. So clearly we have still got a lot of top-end speed. So we do have to use a fair bit of battery there, but then through the centre edge, Zhou Guanyu constantly amazing traction out of those first couple of turns there, and it just means by the time we head down the Esquina de Lago once more, we just can't get close enough. We're just stuck a little bit behind him, unless he loses the DRS to Ocon. Right, come on then, a little bit closer to Zhou Guanyu this time round, as we're going to try and slingshot our way up towards the start-finish line here. You just head through this bowl. Is Zhou Guanyu going to go defensive on me? Yes, he is, to the outside of Zhou Guanyu, and he's actually going to lock up in a big way down at turn 1 there, so that's going to end up being quite an easy overtake to make in the end. Alex Albon's going to sneak by him as well, and up then into P15 of the Grand Prix, making slow, steady progress here, not quite being as aggressive as we were in the sprint, but of course, yeah, much longer race. We've got plenty of time to make up places. Oh, Alex Albon. My Alex Albon, that was a fantastic little send up the inside as we got back towards turn 1. There was never expecting the Williams from that far back to get not only up the inside there, but also get it slowed down. By the time we got back to turn 1 there, completely caught me napping, if I'm honest. But yeah, not convinced Albon's going to have the pace though to close up to Ocon, as we have definitely lost a bit of time there battling with him. We have just got to slowly try and close up the pace of that huge gaggle of midfielders. We're now going to try and get a run back on Albon as we head up towards the start-finish line, because I've just noticed that car in P6 is now for Tauri, and that could be massive points for them at the end of this Grand Prix. So can we try and get the nose back up the inside of Alex Albon? Oh, he goes... What was that? Albon, he left me space on the inside there, tried to switch back, and just turned in on me down at turn 1 there and just completely sent me round. Albon's just sent me to the Shadow Realm out of spite and nothing else. Well, I just sort of spent a couple of laps just driving back up towards the rear of our teammate Felipe Drugovich here. And yeah, definitely want to start trying to pick off cars as soon as possible. Try not to be too aggressive though, otherwise Albon might just send me to the Shadow Realm again. As here goes Felipe defensive on the run back up towards turn 1. Can we hook it up around the outside of our teammate? No, just track falls away from you on the outside there. And yeah, really struggling actually to make any inroads at the moment. And I am just watching that AlphaTauri sat nestled up in P6, expecting the worst here. Right, let's try this again then, as towards the end of lap 11, this would pretty much be the end of a sprint race here, and what a bad sprint race it would have been. But luckily, we've still got another 25 laps here at Interlagos, getting close to our teammate back at turn 1. But the AI are very, very brave on the brakes through that first corner, and very, very good on the throttle on the exit there, as we just can't do anything with him still sat in the Tifi's DRS just up in front. We cannot get a run down the Esquina de Lago there, as you can just see, nudging the grass on the way in. As Albon now has just broke away from that gaggle in front, but we need Latifi to lose the DRS off the cars in front, so at least then Felipe can try and get a run on him, because at the moment we are just stuck. Say that, round the outside of Drugovich at the top of the hill. No, never a chance there. Don't want to get impatient here, but desperately want to try and make a move work as we close up to Drugovich back on the run towards turn 1 here. That was definitely a move in the braking zone from my teammate as Zhou Guanyu up the road blocks up down at the first corner. But yeah, we are just stuck at the moment, and little moves like that in the braking zone do not fill me with confidence. Still sat behind Felipe here, and also now of course it just meant Latifi definitely staying a bit closer. We're going to have to try and make moves over the pit window, because I just am stuck completely. I know I keep saying it, but we cannot do anything. It's so weird. We go from the highs of Mexico, a recent success we've had in this series, to then suddenly once again feel like we're back at square one. Oh, this is the closest we've been as we head out of Zhungsao to Drugovich all afternoon so far. They got really nicely on the throttle as we're going to try and use a load of battery as we head up towards the start-finish line. Again though, Drugovich will go defensive on me, so we're going to go late on the brakes, try and just keep the nose there through turn 2. And oh, completely slam the door on our teammate Drugovich there. I hate to have to do it, but sometimes you've got to make it very clear that the move is being completed now, as Latifi and Zhou Guanyu just a little way up the road there. But yeah, I'm sorry Drugovich, but it had to be done. You weren't getting on with the progress you needed to, and I couldn't do anything stuck behind you. There we go, first few cars into the pit lane then. Want to try and extend this stint a little bit longer if I can. Of course, yeah, we definitely seem to have worked out the way to be quick, or quicker through a tyre wear window, or a pit stop window even I should say, is by pitting a little bit later, so you feel the effects of the cold rubber and you can just try and park the bus in front of other cars that have already had to deal with it. As, yeah, definitely want to see if we can try and jump Zhou Guanyu and Latifi in this Grand Prix. It's been slow progress so far today, not helped by Albon turning me, but if ever there was a track where it was DRS dependent, Interlagos is certainly up there, as you can just see through this middle sector. Latifi really struggling actually. Can we try and make a move work around the outside of the Williams? No, again, is the word there. We don't have enough top end speed, but I also don't feel like we're massively stronger through the corners either. I just don't think we've really taken the setup particularly well this weekend, and that's not helpful when you've got a sprint race as well. As now we've got Hamilton all over the back of me, but look how close we are. All over the back of Latifi as we head up towards the start-finish line once more here. Hamilton surely going to be trying to get 2 for the price of 1. Latifi into the pit lane there as we're just going to close the DRS once more. I honestly thought we'd outbroke ourselves there into turn 1, but we're going to stay out one more lap then, because I knew DRUGOVICH was going to want to pit. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo though, so we will tuck straight into the slipstream of the McLaren there and might be able to get a run down the inside of the Australian. He's on cold rubber, but we've got to make it work. Hamilton might try and follow me through, but Hamilton can, and we're now up at a P7 then of the Grand Prix. Got to enjoy this whilst it lasts, as we're about to fly way back down the order. Sebastian Vettel, Lando Norris both into the pit lane, but I'm looking at this thinking the tyre wear isn't that bad. Call me brave, call me stupid, but I might try and do what we aim to do at Suzuka, and if we can take these tyres to about the end of 21, or I'm going to try and see if we can go softs to the end of this race. Yeah, I'm kind of just thinking at the moment, we're not really going to make much progress if I stay out on a set of hard tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. Here comes Lewis Hamilton. Not really going to try and fight any of these guys all too much either. So we may as well just try and do something different. We're likely not going to score points anyway today. So yeah, we may as well just sort of give it a gamble. If we get a safety car that helps us out as well, brilliant. If not, then we're not really going to lose much either, as here comes now Daniel Ricciardo. Is the Australian going to be able to get a run down the Assetto Corsa? I think he might. Fortunately. Oh, Ricciardo, come on, don't just sit there. Get on with it. I don't want to win that place back, Jeff, as reassuring to see Gasly now has been jumped by a few cars, so even if he was to finish P8 today, I don't think that would be enough for AlphaTauri to re-jump us. Must admit, it really isn't fun just to be leaking positions like a sieve, but I think we're about to lose another one. Sergio Perez, they're not, again, going to really try and fight this. We're just focusing on our own race, as now we are going to box, though, at the end of this lap. We're going to be going on to a set of the soft compound tyres right through to the checkered flag. I mean, the mediums have done 21 laps, as now the tyre wear warning light has come on. So 15 laps doesn't seem impossible. They won't be comfortable to the end, but we've got to take the gamble today, I fear. I was about to dive into the pit lane then. May as well use up the last little bit of battery. Also, you save yourself a few percentage as you head through the pit lane opportunity. As where is the box? There it is! Oh! I kind of just guessed there, as for some reason the pit lane speed limit sign is actually a few feet before the actual slowdown point there, so I did think we'd sped badly into the pit lane, but optimal turning. Come on, nice tidy stop, team, please. Please, okay, no!
Been a problem removing the right front wheel. We need to try and put that behind us, and let's finish this race as strong as possible.
Why? Why every time, Codemasters, do I seem to get issues with that still as we head back through turn 1? Not actually going to have lost out much to all the hard compound runners, as it looks like DRUGOVICH has now made the move work on the Latifi as well. But still, even if we've got this move there, go on, DRUGOVICH up the inside of Zhou Guanyu. Love to see that as they get towards the bottom of the Assetto Corsa there, and I think DRUGOVICH, he might just have pulled it off. They're still side by side as they head up the other side there. And look at that DRUGOVICH now. Maybe just me going for the aggressive move earlier on is kind of giving him the kick up the backside that he needed, because now our teammate's starting to make progress. And fingers crossed, so can we. Right, we have got a full charge of battery then on fresher, quicker rubber than Nicholas Latifi. Surely this one is going to be a done deal as we head back up towards the start-finish line here. We may as well just drain through the battery to the best of our abilities there to the outside of the Williams. He's going to try and give me a squeeze. That's pretty even on the brakes, but we should have more grip there. Wheel-to-wheel stuff with Latifi through turn 1, but we pulled off the move, and we're now back up into P19 then of the Grand Prix. I'm going to have to look after the tyres, though, during the second half of this one, as DRUGOVICH, you could just get out of Zhou Guanyu's DRS range. That would be wonderful. Let's look at the grip we've got, though, as we head down the hill. I might be able to actually make a move work on the Alfa Romeo to the inside there of Zhou Guanyu, and that's going to be a second overtake on this lap. We are definitely picking up cars at the moment, but like I said, have got to be careful on these tyres to the end. Might be able to make it 3 when we get a run past Felipe. Right, let's make it 3 from 3 then on this lap as we head out of the final couple of turns. Of course, DRUGOVICH, no DRS for him as you sneak back up towards the start-finish line here. We've been side by side with my teammate a couple of times before today, and it's had differing results there, but late on the brakes down at turn 1. Oh, a tiny bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between myself and Felipe, but this time round, we pull off the move, keep it clean and tidy on the exit of the corner here. He's going to have the DRS, so we're just going to have to use a little bit of battery, make sure he's far enough back. But now back a bit of P17 then of this race. Let's just be quick but careful and see what more we can get. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. It's a McLaren. Are they retiring from the Grand Prix? And if so, is it Ricciardo or is it Lando Norris? Fortunately, it's Lando Norris out of the Brazilian Grand Prix. But no safety car. That could have really helped us out here. But it is going to inherit P16 our way. Right, on to lap 28, then 9 to go here from Interlagos. The gap to Seb is still coming down. Like I said, unless we had a miracle or a safety car, there was basically no chance that we were going to use this to get back into the points. But if I could just get Sebastian and move back up into 15th place today, I'd be quite happy. Of course, yeah, still waiting for our first P14 finish of the year. We finished in basically every other position from, what, 5th or 6th down. But P14 and P22. Can't finish P22 today. Lando Norris has already reserved that one. Well, no, it wouldn't even be Lando. I can't remember who else has retired. Lance Stroll, wasn't it? Earlier on in the afternoon, but we could still get a P14. 6 laps to go then. Gap still coming down as the tyre wear isn't looking perfect, but isn't looking bad as I thought either. I think if we can get to Seb with sort of 3 laps to go, then we might still stand a chance of getting past him and then praying we can just sort of park the bus in the last couple. But the DRS, of course, so critical around so many races, and Interlagos certainly one of them, but I just need to try and get within that range. 4 laps to go then, the gap just starting to stagger between myself and Seb at about the 2-second mark. We just can't seem to get much closer at the moment. We need to dig deep in these final 4 laps and see if we can just try and find anything more that the car has got in it, but it is getting more and more difficult there, as you can just see sliding it through the first couple of turns there, trying to dance our way between the curves. We've got next to no battery left either. I just think Sebastian Vettel, we are going to get close, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Heading up the hill then, start the penultimate lap here from Brazil, and I think we're just going to have to accept today that the battle with Sebastian Vettel is not going to become a reality here. Just haven't quite got enough pace, and honestly, I'm looking at it. You know, DRUGOVICH only 4 seconds behind, but George Russell just about to lap our teammate here. We might even slot in behind George at the end, so not to risk getting any more, you know, if we've got a puncture on the car and potentially damaged it on the final lap. I would not walk away a happy man here from Brazil, but that'll all depend on whether George Russell can get close enough to our teammate here on his final lap of the Grand Prix. It looks like, yeah, George Russell again. He might leapfrog his way up at a P2 now, overall in the championship, in one of the most unlikely comebacks lay on in a Formula 1 season here. Yeah, these tyres are pretty much giving up the ghost at the moment, as we've just got nothing through this middle sector there. I still feel like it was honestly the right choice to go with today, just because, of course, I don't think we would have got past Latifi and DRUGOVICH otherwise, or if we had, it would have been pretty close there. But George Russell has now lapped our teammate Felipe Drugovich here, and he's not really far behind me. And like I said, I think we're better off just saving the car, saving the engine, rather than doing one extra lap here at Interlagos. And you can see the tyres, are completely gone as well then. But rounding the final couple of corners, George Russell looks like he is going to win here in Brazil, and we're just going to try and make sure we time this well as we head up towards the line there. George Russell wins the race here at Brazil.
And that's the end of the race. See you in Parc Ferme.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the whole team at Mercedes. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners. Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, for me, it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Brazilian GP weekend there, and George Russell pretty much couldn't have done any better had he tried there. Pole position, fastest lap, and the sprint race victory as well. That means he walks away with a full 34 points there. Charles Leclerc P2 with 24 points to his name ahead of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton there. Alonso, Sainz, Perez, Ricciardo, and you can see having a look at your race results there. Ricciardo 7th, Sainz 8th, Gasly in at P9, so luckily not as many points for AlphaTauri there. And Esteban Ocon, yeah, despite a bad start, still recovered to P10 as well in his Alpine. You can see, yeah, we did finish one lap down at the checkered flag there. Been a while since we got lapped in one of these races. But then again, you know, Sao Paulo, a very, very short track there. Does mean championship-wise, though, George Russell, now look at that, heading into one more race to go of the year, and there is now a 4-car scrap for P2 in the championship there. 11 points cover Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz, and George Russell in the Drivers' Championship. And honestly, if I was a betting man, I'd be saying George Russell is the man that's going to take that come the end of the year there. Further down the order, any other movers? No, there hasn't been by the looks of it. We're still sat in P14 now, looking pretty safe either way. Don't think we're going to score a we need a podium if we wanted to try and jump Daniel Ricciardo in Abu Dhabi. So not going to say it's not going to happen, but highly unlikely there, as Stroll still sat just behind us in the championship. Constructors-wise, though, yeah, we have still got that little margin of safety over Aston Martin and AlphaTauri there. To be honest, I kind of forgot, actually, that we were on 29 points. I thought AlphaTauri might be a whole lot closer, but yeah, Mercedes have solidified P2 in the championship. The only real battle going on, actually, is between Haas and McLaren. 1 point between those two teams as we head into the final race of the year. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will return very, very soon with more Formula 1 content.
None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.